Hello. I want to share about the car accident I had 2 weeks ago and how God helped me find a replacement car within 2 weeks. So, first of all, the accident was on July 7th, and it was a three-car pileup with my car in the middle. And so we were rear ended, and we also rear ended another vehicle. No one was ticketed or found at fault, but the insurance explained that technically I'm at fault for hitting the car in front of me and the car behind me was at fault for hitting me. And that's sort of how they decide who pays what in terms of all the insurance, but that was really left in the hands of the insurance company. So on the day of the accident, I was really upset. It just happened so quickly. The boys and our dog were with me, and all three of us, the kids and I, were like, what just happened? What just happened? Luca was crying. I was crying. I was shaking. Nico was okay. He seemed surprised, but also just woo, that was close. And I called the police and I called Welly. Welly actually beat the police to the scene. And I'm just so grateful in hindsight that Welly was home and he was able to be there so quickly. I messaged the boys' dad and he was also super supportive and just said take the boys home, because I was actually bringing them to his house, and I said Welly can bring them to you, but he said nope, just get them home and I'll see them a little later. I felt a lot of relief that everyone was okay, because there were two other drivers, me and my kids, and everyone was fine. There were no obvious injuries, and since then I haven't heard of anyone else being hurt at all. I had a little whiplash for a day or two, but that's gone away. And I was in shock, and I did battle with a lot of fear and doubt over the course of that day, which I think is really natural. Even though I knew immediately how fortunate we were, and that I knew we were fortunate, and I also felt blessed. I also knew I don't need to try to understand why this happened. It's beyond my understanding and comprehension. But there was still a part of me that was why? Why is this happening to me? There's just so much on my plate already. Why this? But I really didn't stay in that space for too long. I was able to pull myself out of it and just feel at peace knowing that everyone was okay. And I did text a couple of people about it, and my friend Jenny said something along the lines of glad everyone's okay, and I know God already has a plan for a replacement vehicle for you and your family. And I knew she was right. When she said that, it just kind of affirmed what I was already feeling, which was I'm not going to stress too much about the fact that I'm probably going to need a new car. I'm just going to wait and see what happens and trust that God has a plan. And the truth is, my car didn't look awful. The hood crumpled up, but the actual car wasn't too rough looking. But given the age of my vehicle, it's 16 years old. It's a 2007, had 332,000 miles. And not a lot of rust, but it had some rust. So, I knew it probably was going to be totaled just given the age and value of the vehicle. But again, I really didn't stress about it. I think I reported, it took me 2 days to even file the claim with the insurance, because even though I knew it was important, it had happened on a Friday, and I knew it wasn't likely I was going to even hear anyone till the weekday. So I think it was Sunday before I even filed the claim. It was Wednesday before I even had a rental lined up, and I actually had a doctor's appointment come up, so we pushed the rental pickup back to Thursday. And things just worked out really well. My mom lives with us now, so we were able to use her car as needed. So having a third car at the house was really helpful. And even on the day of the accident, it was just really nice to be able to come home and get a hug from my mom. That I'm her kid. I'm an adult, but I'm still her kid, and just to be able to come home and get a hug from my mom was really special. So, I filed everything with the car insurance and I just felt a lot of peace. I had no idea what would happen, whether it would be totaled, whether they'd want to fix my car, or if they decide, if it was totaled, like honestly, Welly and I were thinking we might get like $1,500 to $2,000. Although I was prepared to sort of argue with the insurance company and show them some comparable vehicles, which my friend Amy had suggested, like send them some comps and show them, like, based on the market, this is what I would need to get a car to replace the car I had. So anyway, I did kind of look at some other vehicles, but I didn't spend much time on it. I glanced a couple times on Facebook Marketplace, and that's about as far as I went. I just knew that there are cars out there and I would get one if I needed to get a replacement. And I just, in in the midst of all of this, I was also diagnosed with pneumonia, found out we're going to put all my cancer treatment on hold because of the pneumonia, which is due to the immunotherapy that I've now had 3 infusions of. And so, I just cannot emphasize the peace that I had over the car situation and my cancer treatment. And while I had like friends and family saying, like, what's going on with your car? Like, are you, what's the update on your car? Is it totaled? Or, what about you? Okay, so you're taking a break from treatment. Like, what does that mean? And I can kind of feel people projecting their anxiety, but I really just have all this peace about it. I'm like, God is not abandoning me. Like, God has a good plan for my car, for a safe vehicle for my family, and God has a good plan for my cancer treatment. Like, I'm okay with this break. In fact, I'm actually kind of excited that my body gets 6 to 8 weeks off from this cancer treatment because it clearly made me sick. So anyway, I wanted to share about finding a car. About a week after filing the claim, no, it took a little longer. Within a week of filing the claim, my car got picked up by the insurance, and then within about 5 days, like the middle of last week, I found out that they are going to give us $4,125 for my car, which makes me kind of laugh because 8 years ago, my ex-husband and I bought that car for $6,300. So I would say it was a pretty good value. And knowing I was going to get this 4125, thought okay, so let me go look at cars. I just put in Toyota Sienna on Marketplace and was very prepared to look at more 2007, 2008, 2009 Siennas. And this one that's a 2012 popped up for $7,700, and I was like, wow, that's a really good price, because others like 2012s, 2013s are listed for $9,000, $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, $13,000. And there was nothing though inside of me that thought, what's the catch? Because these people actually put really detailed photos in their listing, and they even showed one little spot of rust on one of the doors. And I thought, wow, they did such a close-up that I thought it was this big chunk of rust, but then when you see the car in person, it's this really small spot. But they were so honest and forthcoming about that I thought that was a really good sign. And then I reached out to them and messaged them about the car. I was texting with the wife, who I guess was out of state at the time, and she just kind of wanted to know how serious I was, because I was asking, can I bring your car 40 minutes away to my mechanic here in Milford and have them look at it? And she said, yeah, that's fine. I take it you're pretty serious about wanting to buy this van. And I said, yeah, it seems like a good buy. It seems like a great price. I guess my only concern are there any known issues or concerns? And she said, no, in good faith, I can say we don't have any known problems with the car. There are no known issues. It's in great condition. So I just felt really good about it. And that only reaffirmed this really is just a good price, a deal, really. So I contacted my mechanic, and they said they could get it in. They thought too that it sounded like a great price for the year and mileage and everything. So I went ahead and scheduled for them to check the car out, picked it up yesterday, drove it 40 minutes back to Milford. It felt so smooth and so good. My mechanic looked at it. He called me up and said, it is a great buy, but it needs some work to get it on the road, like to pass inspection. But none of it was red flag material. Like he said, this is just stuff you need to do, and after that it'll be great. He didn't have any major concerns and agreed it would be a good buy. So I have to say that when I picked up the car, the woman told me I would meet her husband at the DCA campus, which is the Dublin Christian Academy. And she explained that her husband teaches there. So I thought, wow, that's pretty remarkable. This is a family of believers, obviously. And I told them that I have friends whose kids go to DCA, and that I had a patient whose grandchildren go to DCA, and that everyone was very happy with the school. And I kind of left it at that, and saw the car, found out about the work it needed. When I drove it back to the husband, I said, my mechanic said this is a great car, it's a great buy. He did, however, say it's going to need $1,200 worth of work, and so I wondered if you would consider $6,900, which is only $800 under the price, not $1,200. But I really didn't want to lowball these people or offend them, because I really just had such a good feeling about the car from the very beginning. I thought it was great that they were so flexible about letting me take it to my mechanic 40 minutes away. I thought it was really great that they, like I said, had showed the little spot of rust. And I just had a good feeling. And to me, that's the Holy Spirit. It was 100% the Holy Spirit just kind of letting me know, this is it. This is going to be your car. So I told him the $6,900. My mechanic had given me photos and like estimates, which were really helpful. And the owner said, like, can I keep these and I'll talk with my wife? I said, yeah, please don't feel rushed. There's no sense of urgency. I know your wife is out of state. Like, go ahead and take the time to discuss with her, and you just get back to me when you feel up for it. And so later that night, the wife texted me and said, so I heard you like the van. And I didn't know what to think when she said that. I was like, is she opening up like negotiations? Like, what do I say to this? So I just said, yeah, I love it. And we thought it was a great car. My mechanic thinks it's great. I said, thank you both for your flexibility and allowing us to drive it to my mechanic, because I trust them so much and I really wanted them to be the ones to look at it. And I said, having said that, I did share with your husband that there's about $1,200 in work that will need to be done. It's really just two things that need to be fixed, but they amount to $1,200. And that will, that will cost us some money just to get it on the road in order to pass inspection. So would you consider $6,900? And she just wrote back, yeah, I think we're just happy to see it go to a good family. And we're not surprised that like it needs a little bit of work, and like this sounds like good timing for all of us. And I didn't need to share with her this, share this with her. But I said, I agree that it's great timing. And I just have to tell you that when I had the accident with my kids, I did not once worry about finding a replacement car or getting my car repaired, because I just knew it was in God's hands. And I said, I have stage 4 melanoma. I've barely worked for the past year, and we are not in the market for a new car, but we've been forced to have to buy a new car because of this accident. And I just knew that God would work it out somehow. And honestly, it does not surprise me that He connected us with a family of believers. And she wrote back like, yeah, we also prayed that God would just give us wisdom and guidance with the timing of selling our car, and that it would all like work out easily. And it really is just so easy. Like, she said, so what's your timeline? And I basically said, I don't have one. There's no urgency. If we can meet early next week, that would be great. And I just feel so good. And this is like such a long-winded version of this story, so bless you if you're still listening. But I just felt so at ease through the whole process, just knowing that a car was going to come along, a car that I like and a car that would feel safe and reliable for my family, a car within our budget. Like, we're only going to have to spend $39.75 of our own money to like purchase this car and do the repairs. And I guess I just feel really good because there was no kind of shadiness anywhere. She wasn't like, oh, well, can you give me, Venmo me $500 as a deposit to hold the car? Or I guess what I'm trying to say is there was total trust on both ends. Like, we both just have a good feeling about it, and this feeling of mutual trust and respect, and like wanting this to work out for both families. And I just think that's God at work. And some of you might listen to this and be like, that's so cheesy, or like, she just got lucky, it's coincidence. But the past year of going through this cancer journey has taught me that there's no luck, there's no coincidence, and that we can invite God into every single situation in our life. You can invite God into picking out the right colored top for your outfit in the morning, and he will weigh in if you ask him to. Or you can ask God to weigh in on your grocery budget. How much should I be budgeting? Or am I spending too much? Or do I need to increase my budget a little? You can ask God to weigh in on your cancer treatment, on purchasing a new car. You can ask God to weigh in on your family problems. You can ask God to show up during a game of family Monopoly. Like, there's nothing too small for him. For him, really, it's like all the things that feel big to us are really just, they're all the same to him. All the problems that feel big or small to us are just the same to him. And he's like waiting right next to us eagerly to be invited into the conversation, to be involved in our everyday decision making. And the more you invite that in, the more you're going to find you're led by the Holy Spirit, which you might call your intuition or your sixth sense or whatever word you have for it. But it was just pretty remarkable, because I've got a lot going on right now. Like, in addition to like having this pneumonia, I've had multiple doctor's appointments in the past couple of weeks, and I'm on different medications. Also making decisions about like work and managing my own patients. So like, there's a lot going on. Plus I have 2 children and a husband, and they all have their own lives. My mom is here. Everyone has their own life and their own set of problems and issues going on. And yet God made this car thing easy breezy. I feel like I put 0.5% of my physical and mental energy into this whole car accident, car insurance, finding replacement car thing. And it could have been a whole ordeal. And instead, it was just a pretty easy process. And I know it's because I let God handle it. So I guess this is just a reminder to let God handle things and stop thinking that you can do it on your own. Stop thinking that you're in control or that you can control anything, and that the more you invite him in, the more he's going to show up, and the more it's going to build your faith. And the truth is, God is always there. But when we share our needs and we express our need for help, it gives him the chance to show up and show us that he's helping. It's this beautiful, beautiful giving relationship, and I just want everyone to experience it. All right, bye.